Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. In version 14.4, a brand new collab was added to the game, this being a collab with Sonic the Hedgehog. One of the units added was a master of all things tech himself, Tails. He may be a whiz in all things tech, but how does his skills transfer over into the world of the Battle Cats? Well, this video will discuss what Tails' abilities are and if they're good or not. The footage in this video is of a level 30 Tails. Tails' kit is fairly different compared to the rest of the cast that was introduced in this run for the collab. Instead of being a more offensively based unit, Tails is a crowd controller, but first, a quick rundown of his general stats. At level 30, he has 48,000 HP and deals 12,750 damage. However, because Tails has an explosion, this damage gets boosted to 25,500 between 365 to 515 range, which covers a decent portion of his 240 to 640 LD range. Tails' standing range is 440 and he is the slowest of all the Sonic Ubers, but is still fairly speedy with 15 speed. Tails' offensive stats are very much on the weaker side of things when compared to other LD snipers. Don't use him purely for his LD, unless he is your only option for LD units. Seeing as Tails' overall offensive stats are rather poor, what does Tails have to offer in his crowd controlling? Well, Tails has a 75% chance to weaken and curse red and alien enemies for 5 seconds, or 6 seconds with treasures. When factoring his explosion, this gives Tails an uptime of 83.7% on average, which is extremely good. However, due to the 75% chance for a crowd control effect, you may not always get a specific debuff you want. The chance to activate just one of the two debuffs, regardless of what they are, is a near guaranteed chance of occurring, with a 99.33% chance of happening, making Tails consistent in shutting down enemies in one way or the other. Weaken is a universally good debuff that most units benefit from having. Red is a more offensive based trait, so being able to not make them as aggressive is always a good thing. Being able to snipe basically any red enemy can make the likes of Toucan, Professor A, and even Baron Seal easier to handle. While a lot of alien enemies aren't too aggressive, being able to dampen their attack power will always be nice. Tails' Curse, on the other hand, is what makes Tails a rather unique unit in terms of crowd controlling. Curse is an extremely rare ability for units to have, and seeing as one of Tails' targets is a trait very susceptible to curses, this gives Tails an extremely valuable niche. Outside of Curse all units, such as Papaluga and Kazli the Bane, the only unit who can curse red enemies is Kin Rangers. The thing with cursing reds is that unless you have the ability built within your existing kit, it isn't really worth seeking out, such as the case of Kin Rangers. This is because of a real lack of red enemies that become much easier with curse. Luckily for Tails, his curse is built in, making red cursing a bit more palatable. In saying that, however, there's really only 3 red enemies that Tails can affect with his curse, these being Professor A, Baron Seal, and Red Energy. A curse can provide a useful avenue for letting Ro close the gap against them, is able to shut down Baron Seal's weaken and freeze, and can shut down Red Energy's knockback. Although in saying all of this, besides shutting down Baron Seal, you won't find all that much value in trying to curse red enemies due to there being much better ways to deal with them, or in the cases of Hanya and Dianel, they require different strategies to deal with them. Even in Baron Seal's case, the curse value mainly comes from also being able to curse Star Pang alongside Baron Seal. Speaking of aliens, cursing aliens is perhaps the best, if not one of the best traits to curse in the entire game. This is because the vast majority of alien enemies have an ability that could be shut down by the curse. This provides a huge advantage if you could shut down the likes of Lemur Weaken, Iron Face, and Moth Freeze, and not to mention a large majority of starry alien warps. This makes Tails an extremely valuable early game unit for those that get him, where a lack of alien counters may exist. However, there is one unit which diminishes the value of this curse against aliens greatly in the endgame, this being Fried Chicken Cat, whose absurd uptime and 100% chance to proc their curse just gives a lot of enemy types a run for their money when it comes to cursing. This causes Tails' value as an alien cursor to go way down the drain. So, how good is Tails exactly? Well, Tails isn't exactly the best unit out there due to his rather poor general offensive stats. His crowd control is extremely good for the early game, but once you progress far enough into the game to pick up fairly solid red and alien counters, his value becomes rather low. Its curse is still very valuable for the entirety of Into the Future and Cats of the Cosmos, but once you progress far enough into the game to where you can get Fried Chicken Cat, Tails basically loses all relevance and sadly gets left behind. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching this analysis of Tails. If you thought this insight was interesting, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy Battle Cats content, and comment down below your thoughts on Tails. I'd love to hear what you all think of them. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gamet, Ian Dean, Erebrel, Ninja Stars, Tentacle Gaming, Virus El Perro, Just a Shark, Potato King, Gross Cat the Best, and Chorus for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on, and channel members receive an exclusive role on my Discord server, for which you can find a link to in the description down below. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.